Welcome back, everyone, to Occult Archives. This is the show where we do a deep dive into history's most, shall we say, notorious books.
That's one way to put it, yes.
You know those texts that tend to send a shiver down your spine just thinking about them?
Exactly. And today, we've got a particularly spine-tingling one on our hands.
We do. Forget those dusty old summaries and those kind of, surface-level explanations.
We're going deeper, way deeper.
Right to the core of these texts, just for you, our intrepid listeners.
That's right, because you told us you wanted to get to the heart of the matter. Quickly, efficiently, and without feeling, overwhelmed.
And we listened. Today, we're plunging headfirst into the world of the Black Pullet, an 18th century grimoire, a book of magic, if you will.
Allegedly of Egyptian origin, no less.
Allegedly, yes. And trust me, this book has certainly made its rounds. It's sparked quite a bit of intrigue, to say the least.
Quite a bit, indeed.
And why is that? Well, this book claims to unlock access to, well, a whole bunch of occult practices.
A veritable buffet of the arcane, one might say.
And we are hungry, aren't we?
Ravenous, I'd say.
So what are we talking about here? Well, think magical talismans, rings that grant wishes. We're talking necromancy, the Kabbalah, even conjuring spirits.
From the airy heights to the fiery depths and everything in between. Sylphs, undines, gnomes, you name it. This book claims you can summon it.
It's like a spectral Rolodex, isn't it?
Yeah.
For those of us who may not have a spirit summoning manual handy, could you maybe break down on what exactly we mean by necromancy and the Kabbalah, especially in the context of this book?
Of course, of course. So within the Black Pullet, necromancy refers to the, let's say, the supposed ability to communicate with the dead for various purposes, naturally. Knowledge, power, the usual suspects.
Right, the usual.
And the Kabbalah, well, that's a bit more complex. It's presented as a system of mystical interpretation of ancient texts specifically. The idea being that these texts hold hidden wisdom, keys to understanding the universe itself.
Okay, so not your light beach reading then. But hold on, the Black Pullet doesn't stop there. It goes even further. It promises to reveal secret sciences, lead you to hidden treasures, even grant you command over all beings.
And don't forget unmasking evil spells. That's always a handy skill to have.
You're telling me it's like a one-stop shop for the aspiring magician.
It really is. Now, what I find particularly fascinating is where this book claims its authority.
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting. Because the book attributes its wisdom to, well, some serious heavy hitters. We're talking Socrates, Pythagoras, Plato, Zoroaster. Think about it, the greatest minds of antiquity.
A veritable dream team of ancient knowledge.
And according to the narrative, their original manuscripts, get this, miraculously survived the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
A bit convenient, perhaps?
Maybe, but that's the story they're sticking with. But why is that so important for the author to lean on this idea of ancient legitimacy? What does that say about how people thought about knowledge back then?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, think about it. This is a book making extraordinary, even outlandish claims. To be taken seriously, it needed to be grounded in something, in a tradition that people respected.
Right. Linking it to these revered figures gave it an aura of, well, of authenticity, of authority. It's like saying, hey, this isn't some fly-by-night magic trick. This is the real deal passed down from the ancients themselves.
Exactly. And it also served to differentiate it from more contemporary sources, which might have been viewed with more suspicion.
Less credible, less reliable. Okay, so we have this connection to the ancient world. But the story gets even more intriguing because these manuscripts were supposedly translated from, wait for it, the languages of the Magi and hieroglyphics, and then eventually into French by a translator known only as AJSDRLGF.
As for the original author, well, they chose to remain anonymous. Adds to the mystique, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? This anonymity, the chain of translations, it all creates a sense of distance, of secrecy. It elevates the knowledge, makes it seem even more valuable.
Exactly. It's like a whispered secret passed down through the ages. And now here we are, ready to unlock it.
So let's dive right into the preface.
Let's see how the author sets the stage.
All right, so right from the get-go, this author, whoever they might be, wants to make it absolutely clear that this work is legitimate, I should say.
No smoke and mirrors here.
Right. They claim it's based on, and I'm quoting here, respectable authorities and ancient doctrines.
They make a very deliberate distinction between their work and what they call reveries and errors.
It's like they're saying, listen, this isn't some fairy tale. This is serious business. This is occult science.
Exactly. And their stated goal is to enlighten a specific group of people,
Oh, who might that be?
Those favored by the great being, those seeking profound truths about nature and its hidden wonders.
Okay, so there's definitely a sense of exclusivity here. It's not for the faint of heart or the casual reader.
Absolutely not. This knowledge, they suggest, isn't for the masses. It's for a select few, the chosen ones, if you will.
And you mentioned earlier that there was a dismissive tone towards critics.
Oh, absolutely. The author basically says, look, I'm not even going to waste my time with naysayers. They're not worthy of a response. Instead, they offer silence and a knowing smile.
Smug, maybe.
Perhaps a little. Their focus, they say, is on the luminous stars and the sovereign master of the universe.
So they're aligning themselves with higher powers.
Exactly. Suggesting a divine mandate for their work. It's a power move, no doubt about it. It's a way of saying, don't question me, question the universe.
Bold move. All right, so we've got a mysterious author with a divine mandate and a book full of forbidden knowledge. Where do we go from here?
Well, let's move into the narrative itself. Meet the protagonist of our tale, a French officer stationed in Egypt.
Yes. So this officer, he's part of the Napoleonic expedition in Egypt. And his initial task is pretty straightforward. He's drawing up plans of the pyramids.
A seemingly mundane assignment.
Exactly. Very much rooted in reality, at least at first.
Right, right. He recounts his arrival at the pyramids, his escort. All very normal, very routine. Until they're ambushed by a group of desert Arabs.
Talk about a sudden shift in tone.
A violent, jarring disruption of the ordinary. And from here, things escalate quickly.
They do. He describes the attack in vivid detail. The clash of swords, the gunfire.
And he finds himself wounded, witnessing the deaths of his companions. It's a scene of utter chaos and brutality.
A real nightmare scenario. The attackers strip them of their possessions, steal their horses, and vanish into the desert, leaving our officer utterly alone.
Surrounded by the fallen, under the scorching desert sun.
Can you imagine the despair?
A sense of abandonment.
It must have been overwhelming. He recounts bidding farewell to his homeland, to his loved ones. His life, as he knows it, is over. With his last remaining strength, he crawls towards a pyramid, leaving a trail of blood in the sand.
A powerful image of desperation.
It is. And just when all hope seems lost, as he catches one last glimpse of the setting sun, something unexpected happens.
As darkness descends, he hears a sound. A large stone slab shifting within the pyramid.
Wait, what?
And from this opening emerges a figure, an old man, a venerable Mohammedan, carrying a lantern.
Like something out of a dream.
Like a beacon of hope in the midst of despair.
It's a classic trope, isn't it? The mysterious stranger appearing in the moment of greatest need.
Absolutely. And this old man, he's described with a long white beard, a turban. He immediately recognizes the dead soldiers and the wounded officer as French.
And he even speaks out in Turkish. Interesting. So what's your take on this initial encounter? What stands out to you?
Well, what strikes me is the old man's immediate compassion. He examines the fallen to see if any still live. He expresses his sorrow. And then, despite the potential risks, he offers his help to the wounded Frenchman.
So even though they're from different cultures, different worlds even, there's this shared sense of humanity.
Exactly. And it's a powerful moment.
It is. So the old man tends to the officer's wounds, gives him a drink, which, according to the officer, instantly revitalizes him.
Quite the potent concoction.
And then he carries him into the depths of the pyramid.
Deeper into the mystery.
Away from the world, into the unknown.
He leads him through winding passages to a hidden chamber.
A secret space, a sanctuary. Furnished with books, divans, a bed. Quite a cozy setup for a hidden chamber.
It is, isn't it? And here, the officer continues his recovery, under the old man's care.
And then comes the big reveal.
The old man informs the officer that the French army has left Egypt. There's no going back.
Stuck in a pyramid with no way home.
But the old man offers an alternative. He proposes to adopt the officer as his son and impart to him extraordinary knowledge.
Extraordinary knowledge, huh? The kind that's hidden deep inside a pyramid.
Precisely. And then the old man unveils the source of his own prosperity.
Which is, drumroll, please.
Vast treasures. Chests overflowing with gold and precious gems. All acquired, he claims, through his mastery of occult sciences.
Okay, so now we're talking.
And he doesn't stop there. He also asserts his ability to command powerful, unseen entities.
Okay, so we've definitely crossed the threshold into the supernatural here. This is where the narrative really embraces the fantastical.
Absolutely. This is where the real journey begins.
So this knowledge, this power, it sounds pretty tempting.
It does, doesn't it? But there's a catch.
Of course there's a catch. There always is. What is it this time?
The old man lays out specific conditions for the officer's tutelage.
Conditions, huh? Like what?
He emphasizes the importance of the officer's honesty, his sincerity, his love of truth.
So it's not just about the magical abilities, it's about character.
Exactly. And he also mentions the importance of natural aptitude. He points out that he himself dedicated over 80 years to studying these sciences.
80 years? That's a serious commitment.
It is. It really underscores that this isn't something you can just pick up overnight. This is a lifelong pursuit.
So the old man sees something in this officer, some potential.
He does. And he presents himself as the sole guardian of this science of the magicians and the language of hieroglyphics.
Wow, that's a lot to live up to.
It is. And to further emphasize the gravity of this undertaking, there's a formal invocation to the very good and the very grand God of the philosophers.
Okay, so they're bringing in the big guns here.
They are. And along with the invocation, there's a stern warning against the dangers of pride.
Pride always goes before the fall, right?
It does. It does. Humility, the old man suggests, is not just a virtue. It's a necessity.
If you want to wield these powers safely, you better check your ego at the door.
Precisely. And then he talks about regeneration, the transformation into a new individual through prayer and worthiness.
So there's a spiritual component to this as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about spells and incantations. It's about inner transformation.
And then comes the ultimate promise, the ability to command nature itself.
With God, of course, acknowledged as the supreme authority, and enlightened will acting as an equal force.
And even powerful spirits and demons are said to be subservient.
It's a claim of immense power, almost godlike in its scope.
Yeah.
But as they say, with great power.
Comes great responsibility.
And in this case, significant renunciations.
So what does the old man say the officer must give up?
He must renounce all that is evil and the seductive pull of worldly passions.
So it's not just about learning the magic, it's about purifying your heart, your intentions.
Exactly. It's about aligning yourself with a higher purpose.
And this is where we're introduced to the concept of elementals.
Ah, yes. The sylphs of the air, the undines of the seas and rivers, the gnomes of the earth, the guardians of hidden treasures.
And of course, the salamanders of fire.
A whole hidden ecosystem of sentient beings.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. And to top it off, the old man claims to have a familiar spirit guiding him.
Like Socrates and Pythagoras.
Exactly. Further reinforcing the connection to ancient wisdom. And then the old man reveals the tools of the trade.
The instruments of this magical tradition.
The talismans and the rings.
So what do they look like? What are we dealing with here?
Well, the old man presents a cedarwood box, richly adorned and sparkling with diamonds.
That's fancy.
Inside are a multitude of these enchanted objects.
So each of these talismans and rings, they have a specific purpose.
That's right. Each one possesses a peculiar virtue, as the old man puts it. But there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Their power can only be unlocked by understanding the language of the magicians and correctly reciting the mysterious words associated with them.
So it's not enough to just have them, you have to know how to use them.
Exactly. Knowledge and intention are key. What do we know about this language of the magicians? Is it an actual language or something more, well, symbolic?
It's a good question. The book doesn't go into specifics about grammar or vocabulary. It seems to suggest that it's more about specific words of power.
Perhaps tied to certain vibrations or to spiritual frequencies.
Right, right. It's all very mysterious, very esoteric. Now, we've got a lot of talismans and rings to cover, each with its own unique power. Let's dive into some of the more, shall we say, intriguing examples.
Let's start with figure 3. This one is for commanding spirits.
Okay, spirit summoning. Always a crowd pleaser. How does it work?
Well, you wear the talisman and the ring, and you utter the words, Cirrus, Itar, Besanar.
And poof, spirits appear.
Supposedly. The narrator himself witnesses a demonstration where numerous spirits manifest.
So this book is saying that humans, with the right knowledge and tools, can interact with, even command, beings from other realms. What does that tell us about the worldview presented here?
It suggests a belief in a hierarchical universe, where humans have a place, a role to play, and that with the right knowledge, we can influence, even control forces beyond our normal perception.
It's a heady concept. Okay, let's move on to figure 4. This one's for all the romantics out there.
Ah, yes. This one promises to make you irresistible, to make you loved by, and I'm quoting here, the most beautiful portion of the human race.
High stakes. So how does one achieve such amorous success?
You place the ring on your left hand, the talisman on your lips, and whisper the incantation. Onades, Seratas, Manier.
And then what happens?
Well, according to the story, a winged spirit appears, bringing forth a woman likened to Venus herself,
Venus, like the goddess.
the one and only. And this goddess-like woman, she immediately favors the narrator over the Sultan.
So it's love at first sight, magically induced.
You could say that.
It's all very dramatic, very wish-fulfilling. What do you think this says about the time period? Why include such a specific and honestly kind of outlandish scenario?
Well, it speaks to the universal human desire for love and connection, and perhaps to a belief that magic could offer a shortcut, a way to bypass the complexities of courtship and social norms. And let's be honest, it also makes for a good story.
It does, it does.
Right.
All right, enough about love. Let's get practical. Tell me about figure 5.
This one's for the treasure hunters out there.
Okay, I'm listening.
So if you utter the words onem, parantes, resonastos, you'll supposedly summon 7 bronze-colored spirits carrying bags of gold.
Talk about a return on investment. So just 3 words and I'm rich. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's not quite that simple, unfortunately. But it is interesting how specific the book is. 7 spirits, bronze-colored bags of gold. It's like they're trying to convince you with details.
Right, like they've actually seen it happen. Okay, so we can summon spirits, we can find love, we can get rich. What else can this book do?
Well, if you're a fan of secrets, figure 6 is for you.
Oh, lay it on me.
This one promises the ability to uncover hidden information, to overhear any conversation.
It's like a magical wiretap.
You could say that.
Yeah.
You recite Nitre Radu Sonandum while holding the talisman near your ear and the ring in your left hand, and supposedly you can hear anything, anywhere.
Wow, that's kind of creepy.
It is, isn't it? It raises questions about the ethical implications of such power.
Definitely. But it also speaks to a very human desire, doesn't it? To know what's going on behind closed doors, to penetrate barriers.
Absolutely. And figure 7 takes this concept even further.
Oh, how so?
It claims to reveal hidden thoughts.
You're kidding.
Nope. The incantation is Noctar Raven. And according to the book, it compels even the most guarded individual to divulge their secret thoughts.
So no more poker face.
Not if you have this talisman. The narrator tests it on the Bey of Cairo, who ends up revealing his alliance with the English.
It's like a truth serum, but magical. Okay, so we've covered love, wealth, secrets, and mind reading. What other wonders await us in this magical toolbox?
Well, figure 9 is a big one. It grants the power to command and destroy elements.
Okay, that's some serious power. We're talking storms, earthquakes.
The whole shebang. The incantation is a bit complicated, a multi-part one, but supposedly it allows you to summon thunder, hail, earthquakes, and even protect your allies from harm.
Imagine having that kind of power, especially in a world where people didn't understand the science behind weather patterns.
It would have been seen as godlike.
Absolutely. Okay, what else?
Well, there's the classic invisibility, figure 10.
Ah, the ultimate spy tool.
Exactly. The incantation is Benatir, Karakau, Dados, Edinarmi, and it's supposed to render you invisible to everyone, even spirits.
So you could basically go anywhere, see anything, completely undetected. The possibilities are, well, endless.
And potentially dangerous, as we've discussed.
Right, right. With great power.
Comes great responsibility.
Exactly. Okay, what else do we have?
Well, figure 11 is for those who like to travel.
Oh, like a magical teleportation device.
Exactly. The incantation is Radidus, Palastrian, Turpandu, Ostrata, Pericatur, Hermes. And it supposedly allows you to travel to any part of the world instantly.
No more long flights, no more traffic jams. Sign me up. But wait, didn't the old man warn the officer about using this one?
He did. He makes the officer promise not to use it to leave without his consent. Shows a bit of foresight on the old man's part, I'd say.
Definitely. He's willing to share this knowledge, this power, but he's not naive. He knows the potential for misuse.
Wise old man indeed.
So what's next?
Figure 12 deals with a more, well, everyday problem. Opening locks.
Still pretty useful, though, especially if you ever locked yourself out of your house.
Absolutely. So with this one, you simply touch the lock with the ring and say, Seratap, Pernisox, Otterum, and voila, it opens. No more need for keys.
So convenient.
Indeed. And then we have figure 13, which takes the idea of secret knowledge to a whole new level.
How so?
Well, this one claims to allow you to see inside houses and read people's thoughts.
Hold on, are we talking X-ray vision and telepathy?
Essentially, yes. The incantation is O Tero Nizel Astarnes Tantares. And it doesn't stop there. It also includes specific words for bestowing prosperity and punishing your enemies.
So you can spy on people, control their finances, and even curse them. That seems a bit, ethically problematic.
It does, doesn't it? But it also speaks to the duality of magic. It can be used for good or for ill.
Right, a double-edged sword. So what other powers are on offer?
Well, we have figure 14 for thwarting your enemy's plans and forcing spirits to obey. Figure 15 for improving substances and granting talents. Figure 16 for mastering medicine and possessing the universal cure. Figure 17 for controlling animals and understanding their language.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me I could talk to my dog?
That's what the book claims, yes.
That's amazing. I mean, imagine the conversation.
I could only imagine.
Okay, what else?
Figure 18 lets you discern good or bad intentions and even mark people's faces. Figure 19 grants you mastery in any art. And then we have figure 20 for winning the lottery.
Okay, now we're getting specific. So this book has a solution for every problem, even gambling.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
It even provides different incantations for different types of lottery selections.
And later on, the old man gives the officer a whole system for predicting winning numbers using cards. It's fascinating to me how they included something as mundane as gambling.
Well, I think it speaks to the human desire for, well, for luck, for easy money.
That's true. Okay, so what about those last two?
Figures 21 and 22,
Yeah.
those deal with harnessing and countering infernal powers.
So basically how to use demonic forces for your own ends and how to protect yourself from them.
Exactly. It's a comprehensive system.
It really is. But hold on, the book doesn't just list these items, it also tells you how to make them, right?
That's right. The rings are to be fashioned from bronze steel with specific characters engraved on the inside. The talismans are made of silk cloth of specific colors with intricate embroidery, and their dimensions are tied to the illustrations in the book.
So it's not a case of just, scribbling something on a piece of paper. There's a whole ritualistic element to the creation process.
Absolutely. The materials, the craftsmanship, the symbols, they're all integral to the efficacy of these objects.
It's not just about the words, it's about the whole package.
Exactly. But as we've already touched upon, the old man is very clear about one thing.
What's that?
These powers, these abilities, they're only meant for those who are pure and virtuous.
So there's a moral dimension to this magic.
A strong one. He explicitly warns about the consequences for the wicked.
Which are?
Rebellion by the spirits, shame, even death.
So it's not a game. This is serious business.
Very serious. And to ensure the proper practice of these arts, the book includes 2 essential prayers. Yes, you're supposed to recite them before and after each conjuration. They focus on the essence of the celestial fire, which is equated with the divine.
So is this celestial fire a literal thing? Or is it more of a metaphor?
It seems to be more of a metaphor for a divine energy, an essence that permeates the universe.
The source of all creation. Okay, I get it. So these prayers, they're a way of aligning yourself with that higher power.
Exactly.
All right, so we've covered the talismans, the rings, the prayers. Now let's talk about the star of the show.
The creature that graces the title itself.
The marvelous black hen. So what's the deal with this bird? Why is it so special?
Well, it's said to possess an uncanny ability to locate hidden treasures.
Like a treasure-hunting bloodhound, but feathered?
Exactly. And according to the old man, the first black hen belonged to Oromasis,
Oh, who's that?
the father of Zoroaster. So we're going way back here.
Ancient lineage. Okay,
Yeah.
so how do you get your hands on one of these treasure-finding birds?
Well, the old man describes a specific ritual for hatching one.
A ritual. That sounds intriguing. What's involved?
It involves aromatic woods, balsamic oil, transparent gum, sunlight, a golden egg, and of course a series of incantations.
It sounds like a mix of alchemy and astrology. Quite elaborate.
It is, but he also provides an alternative method, using a completely black hen and a spotless egg.
So, options.
Always good to have options. But regardless of the method, the old man emphasizes the importance of the operator's wisdom and virtue.
So it's not just about following the steps. Your intentions, your character, they matter.
They're crucial. And eventually the narrator does acquire his own black hen in Marseille.
And does it live up to the hype? Can it really find treasure?
According to the narrator, yes. He describes its remarkable ability to locate hidden gold, even with its eyes covered.
No way. That's incredible.
It is, and the book even provides specific words to command the hen to search and to rest.
So it's like a living, breathing gold detector. Amazing.
It is. It really adds to the sense of wonder and possibility that this book evokes.
It does. Okay, so we've got our talismans, our rings, our prayers, our treasure hunting hen. What happens next?
Well, the narrative takes a bit of a somber turn. The old man, He knows his time is coming to an end.
He's not immortal after all.
No, he's not. He predicts his own death at the age of, wait for it, 270.
270, that's a long life.
It is. It adds to his aura of wisdom, of ancient knowledge.
It does, it does. So what happens when he dies?
Well, he bequeaths all his possessions to the officer.
All of it. The treasures, the talismans, the rings.
Everything. Even the birds. And he also leaves specific instructions for his burial.
Instructions.
Yes, he wants his body placed in the center of the chamber, surrounded by aromatic woods, a specific liquid poured over it. And then, the black hen's talisman is used to ignite the funeral pyre.
Wow, that's quite a send-off.
It is. It's a final act steeped in the magical tradition he embodied.
It makes sense. So the officer, what does he do?
He grieves, of course,
Yeah.
but he also fulfills the old man's wishes. He carries out the burial rites, collects the ashes in a gold urn.
And then what?
Then he journeys back to Marseille with Otis, the treasures, and the black hen.
Otis!
Yes, presumably a spirit entrusted with teaching the officer the secrets of commanding the pullet.
Ah, okay. So the legacy continues.
It does. The officer inherits a fortune, buys an estate in Provence, and lives a, well, discreetly prosperous life.
Good for him.
He even constructs a special pavilion to house the urn containing the old man's ashes. And every year he holds a day of remembrance.
A touching tribute. So what about the book itself? Why did he write it?
He explains that he wanted to share this knowledge, but only with those who are worthy, those who are virtuous and wise.
So he's carrying on the tradition.
Exactly. And he even includes a warning to potential plagiarizers.
A warning.
He threatens them with magical retribution.
Wow, okay, he's not messing around. So the student becomes the teacher.
In a way, yes.
So there you have it, the Black Pullet.